Welcome to Right on Track, a songwriting podcast. Thanks to Tone for tuning in. I'm Demi Michelle Schwartz, and I'm thrilled you're joining me on my songwriting journey. So kick back and relax, don't fall flat, and remember, stay right on track. Hello, welcome back to Right on Track. I'm so excited because I have two very special guests joining me today, Becky Lawrence and Stuart Rolfe. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, very well.
I'm so excited you both are joining me today because we're going to be talking all about collaborating with other recording artists ahead of your release of I Need You by Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Before we get into this conversation, can you both share a little bit about yourselves and how you got into music and your songwriting journey so far?
Cool. Do you want to go ahead, Stu? I'll follow. Take your lead.
Okay. Yeah, me. I grew up as a bit of a rebel, really, in music. In my school, everybody had to learn the piano. I refused to do that and picked up a guitar. So they gave up on me, really, and that's where I started. And then I worked for a company in London called Damage Management, which got me into music, and worked alongside Dire Straits and people like that. And then it grew from there. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the things you've achieved since then.
I know. Yeah. Well,
That's
yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah. Well, my journey's been interesting. An interesting one. I actually started performing and doing dancing and stuff before I actually got into the singing. So when I was young, I did ballroom and Latin dancing, which I really enjoyed. And then I went ahead and did like tap and ballet and modern dancing, which everyone would send their kids to at that age. So I ended up doing that. And then through that, I joined a drama club. So then I was really into acting, and that's where the acting side sort of came. And then I got into musical theatre. So that's actually my background. That was what I was heavily involved in from like the age of 14. And I was having regular singing lessons every week, classical lessons. And then, yeah, I actually moved to London, went off to drama school, did the whole musical theatre drama thing. That didn't quite work out the way I thought it was going to do. But music's always been a huge part of my life. I've been around music my whole life. My dad was really into music. He used to DJ when he was younger. My mum used to play piano and flute and violin and all that sort of stuff. And so, yeah, I've always been around music pretty much my whole life. I don't think there's ever a day where I don't listen to music.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited to talk to both of you today. And to kick things off, Becky, would you like to read a quote by Patrick Lencioni?
I will. Yeah, the quote is, "Teamwork begins by building trust, and the only way to do that is to overcome our need for invulnerability."
I love this. What does this quote mean to you?
Me too. I really like that. And I think a lot of us, whether it's like a society thing or something, are really worried and scared to be vulnerable. But there's actually great strength in being vulnerable. And those people who know me and follow my social media will know I'm very big into mental health and mental well-being. And mine has really been tested this year, as Stu knows, very, very tested. But actually, there is strength in vulnerability, and there's kind of strength in being vulnerable with other people. And I really feel like that's kind of happened with Stu and I over the years that we've known each other and we've been working together, which we'll probably talk about later on. But yeah, that's kind of what I get from that quote. There's a strength in vulnerability, and
There's yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Stuart, what do you think about this one?
As well as, yeah, the trust side of things and things, if you're the invulnerabilities in people do, I think brings out the better in people. It makes them strive for more and things like that, and brings people together.
Definitely.
And without it, you could, you become sort of socially distanced, to be honest. And it strives you to become together and work as a team. And I think it's a great quote, and it means so much.
Yeah, I love all the points both of you brought up. I think, the one part that really jumped out at me was the trust side of things, because in order to be vulnerable, you have to trust somebody first. And I think the music industry is a place where it's kind of hard at times to find people to trust, because there's so much, misinformation and people not being genuine. And so it's hard to find those people to trust. And especially when you're a songwriter, like I write all of my songs and they're all very vulnerable and personal to me. And getting into the whole studio recording aspect, I've never done a duet with another artist, which is something I'd love to do. So that's something I haven't done yet. But I've definitely worked with producers and other studio musicians. And I think there's the same level of vulnerability that goes into that too, because you're bringing people, no matter who they are as a musician, into your song, and you need to trust them and be vulnerable with them in order to let the song be the best it can be. And so I think trust and vulnerability really go hand in hand, and this quote demonstrates that perfectly.
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can't. I don't know if you can create like a meaningful song if you don't have that trust there to be vulnerable with someone. I think you
Absolutely.
can really tell, can't you, when you listen to a duet, that there is that trust there and they have been able to open themselves up. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So moving into that, so you guys recorded a duet, "I Need You" by Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Can you both share your kind of journey of that and how you got started with this from the beginning and the whole song selection process?
yeah, I love this story because it's really nice, and it was just kind of simple, wasn't it?
Yes.
You know,
Very
I
much
think
so.
um
Yeah.
again, I don't think Stu will mind me saying that we've actually been working together the past year or so, vocal coaching wise, because I'm a vocal coach. And Stu approached me. God, it must be like a couple of years ago now. Must
Yeah.
be, yeah. I
It's
said,
something I definitely needed. I still do.
oh, bless you. And yeah, I think we obviously started working together, and we built a friendship. And because we're both songwriters in our own right, and singers, I said, well, we should get together and do a duet. Like, let's record something. Not necessarily something we've written together, but even just a song that is already known. We could do a cover. And that's when I kind of said to you, like, oh, throw some ideas around.
Yeah, that's right. And this one popped up. It did.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful song. And I think I mean, for me personally, it was a song that wasn't, I would say, really on my radar. It wasn't a duet that I would instantly go to and listen to. So when you sent it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Why have
Yeah.
I never like
Yeah.
heard this before? So
No.
yeah, I was really excited by it.
Yeah, well, I've sort of fell in love with it back in 2007 when I worked on the second edition of the song when it was re-recorded, and from then it's something I've always wanted to do. And when you came up with the idea, it was there. It was
Yeah.
just there, you know.
It was just meant to be.
It was.
That's perfect though, because like that happens so naturally, and I think things with collaboration, especially recording a song with another artist, is next level than just getting somebody as a studio musician or something like that. This is like definitely next level, and the fact that it happens so naturally, I think like you said, it's meant to be, because it wasn't forced or anything. It wasn't like dragging it out. Like maybe we should do this, maybe we shouldn't. There wasn't like an awkward dynamic. Like you've been friends, and then this kind of came up and it felt right, and so I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did just feel very just like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's get in the studio and let's just do it. And it was fun. And that's what it should be, anything you approach, it shouldn't feel like a chore. It should just feel fun. And we had a blast.
It was good fun recording it. It really was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, I bet it was, and I want to hear all about it. So, what was the recording process like? Particularly, like, as you guys are different artists, you are coming together to do this project. So, in a way, you kind of have to find a middle ground and kind of blend your sounds and styles together. So, what was that process like with the whole recording?
Over to you.
Yeah, it was. I have to be honest. It was quite frightening, to be honest, at the beginning, because me, I was a session musician for such a long time, and then stepping out of the limelight, well, the shadows into the limelight, if you like, um, and taking on vocal coaching lessons, and then singing a duet with the vocal coach. Who,
Okay, yeah, I can see why that could
you
potentially
know,
be intimidating.
you're walking into a studio going, I'm going to take hours recording my part, and she'll do it in minutes. It's pretty close to that, I have to say.
Well, those nerves didn't come across, I've got to say. But no, I could potentially see how intimidating that was. But taught me, from a different point of view. So from being the vocal coach and then working with you on a song, it was just amazing to me to see how much you had developed and how much you'd grown over
Yeah.
the 2 years that we've been working together.
Can you imagine?
And you did have that confidence, and it does come across through the vocals. Sorry, there's like a police car or something going past. Can you be quiet? Thank you. Yeah, and from me, from that point of view, it was great to see this new confident side of you, and it was just great fun.
It was great fun, I have to say. In the studio, it was good. It was good fun, and we both got a good sense of humour.
Oh yes. You should hear some of our sessions. Sometimes they just go on a complete tangent.
Oh, wow.
That's fabulous. Yeah, and I love how you keep going back to how fun it was, because I know when I'm doing studio sessions with my producer and my guitarist, like, we're there to get work done, but at the same time, there's zero tension and absolutely no stress, and it's just fun. Like, we laugh, and like, I always film my sessions to do studio vlogs, and looking back on them, like, I kind of sit there and think, how do we even get stuff done? Like, all we're doing is laughing the whole time. Like, how do we get these songs done? But we do, because it's so fun and time flies, and I feel like that's how it was for you.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, time did tick on half the time because we were laughing and joking a lot, I have to say. Yeah.
But again, we don't. I think we both don't take ourselves too seriously, but I think we both know when we need to kind of be a little bit professional. Get the job done. It's that balance, isn't it? But I think if you
Did we do that?
Did we do? Did we even do that? Who knows? But I think it's just finding that balance, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, it was clearly super fun, but I feel like with anything, no matter what you're doing, there's always going to be a little bit of a roadblock or challenge in some way. So what are some challenges that you guys faced working on this song?
My ability to sing, I think, is.
You need to stop putting yourself down. You can sing. You can sing.
But, yeah, no, I mean, some of the roadblocks, I think, some of the stumbling blocks were, in a sense, it is following on from such an amazing powerhouse of a couple that sung it previously, and then trying to put a little spin on it to make it ours, to sort of almost detract from the sort of hit that it was.
Yeah, I think it's they're big shoes to kind of fill, and we were very sort of aware that we didn't want it to sound exactly the same as theirs, because Tim and Faith released their single how they wanted it to sound. We wanted to keep the elements of it because the original's so amazing, but we did want to just put our own spin on it, and I feel like we've achieved that. I feel like we've definitely done that.
And I think it's. I mean, it sounds amazing to me. It really does. I'm shocked at my own thoughts of it.
Honestly,
it is one of the only songs that I've done that I can listen to and go, "That's okay,"
Well, I'm pleased, and there will be more of them.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's incredible. I love how you made a point to bring up how you put your own spin on it and made it your own. And I think as artists and songwriters ourselves, that's something that you're used to doing when you're doing your own music. You're bringing something unique to the table. And as doing a cover as popular as this song with two incredible artists, in a way it's like trying to live up to it. You know, you don't want to copy them because then it'll be like, oh, we're just copying. But then at the same time, you want to deliver something special and fresh to, you know, give it something unique. And I think, you know, taking time to do that is so, so important because this is your version. This isn't Tim and Faith, it's Becky and Stuart. And so I think that's so important that you guys took the time to do that and were mindful about that.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
What was your favorite part about the whole process?
I think the favourite part was listening to it coming alive, to be honest, as we were sort of putting parts down and in the studio, and listening back and thinking, this is really working. This is really moving somewhere, you know. And it's funny because when you sort of record songs in studios, they're all in parts, and they, you know, the engineers and the producers bring it all together and everything else. But this was coming together organically on its own. It just kept on growing, really. And certainly, I have to say, the ending of the song just grew into itself.
It did, yeah, because we weren't really sure what we were going to do towards the end,
No.
were we? We just wanted to do something different, and again, keeping it our, you know, original to us. And I think we managed to do that. But like you said, like hearing it come together, I think what I always get excited about is when you can start hearing harmonies and you think, oh, let's put that in, or let's try this, oh, let's take this. So when we were starting to put those harmonies in, I was like, this is blowing my mind. This is sounding so like really quite different from the original, but it's kind of like giving it a different dynamic, hasn't it? Just by adding those extra layers and those harmonies in. And and when we got that first demo back, I was like, ooh, big shivers, big goosebumps.
I mean, I have to say, and our engineer and producer, Tyler Squelcher,
yes,
he's such an amazing chap. And the studio NAMM is such a relaxed atmosphere that, I mean, you can do so much work in time there because you are so relaxed there.
Definitely.
But the striking bit for me really was when Becky was in the sound booth, and it was just the second verse of the song, but her verse, and when she just came alive on the mic. Me and Tyler, I can remember looking at him and he looking at me, and we just in complete disbelief at how beautiful the vocals were. And
stop it, you! You're making me blush.
and I can remember Tyler saying, "Well, I don't have to do anything to this." And that was it was an inspiring moment, I have to say.
I love that so
Sweetie
much.
pie.
No, that's fantastic.
I paid him to say that. I did.
Yeah, it seems like it was so fun and inspiring, and you know, this is something huge, working together to bring this song to life. What was the biggest lesson you learned from the whole experience?
I think for me, and this is a strange thing, and I suppose as a singer-songwriter, you get very protective over everything you do. On the basis that you are vulnerable when you write things. I mean, I know we didn't write this, but it's our voices, it's our emotions going into it, and things like this. So you think, and it was being able to relax and trust very easily, because I knew, that the whole sort of feeling of it was right. And
Yeah.
it's so easy to sort of relax, step back, and let the flow happen rather than have any control over it. It just did it, Whereas when you're recording your own songs and that, you're very sort of, no, that's not quite what I want. This is what I want, and things like that. Whereas this song, it didn't matter where it went. We just felt very comfortable with each other singing the parts and how we interpreted those parts.
Yeah, and it ties in again with this quote, the trust thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this for me was the first time I'd ever worked with Tyler, so I'd never worked with Tyler before in this sort of capacity, and it was, again, you do have maybe like a little bit of fear, a bit of anxiety, because obviously they've never worked with your voice before, you've never worked with them, So again, it was nice to be able to just have that trust
Yeah,
almost instantly straight
yeah,
away, um,
absolutely. And
with yourself and Tyler. It
I
was
have to say that, just with Tyler, um, I've worked well. He's all my recordings are done. Tyler's done now, and you know, he'll do all the recordings for forever, really. Well, as much as he wants to do them.
yeah.
Wants to speak with me,
For as long as he wants
but,
to.
I mean, I know a lot of producers and a lot of engineers, and I cannot say hand on heart say that I've met someone like Tyler.
Mm,
Um, Apart from him striving for perfection all the time, which is great because it pushes you harder.
mm.
But you have complete trust in everything he says because he's there for you, not for the studio sound or the name of this or the name of that. He's there for the music that you want to produce, which is great.
I love that so much. Yeah, I feel like I've experienced that as well because I'm still trying to find my sound. I've been going back and forth between pop and country and like folk pop and all this stuff. And, like to your point of having a producer who believes in you and is so excited about what you're doing that they're kind of letting you do what you want. Mine definitely does that because I go into a session and be like, all right, Demi, what are we doing today? Are we doing a pop song? Are we doing a country song? What are we doing today? So, so like I feel like I'm finally getting my sound nailed down a little better moving forward. But having somebody that I trusted to go in there and do whatever I wanted and bring in other musicians who would do whatever I wanted. I think that's so important. But to Stuart's point earlier as well, like when you're doing your own song, it's like you have a clear vision and you know how you want it to go. But when you're working with another artist, it's both of you. And I think, to your point of taking a step back and kind of recognizing, hey, like I'm not going to take control. I'm going to let this happen organically is so, so important because both of you are recording the song and have recorded the song. And both of you are on it equally. And so I think having that space to let things happen naturally and not force something in a certain direction based on your personal opinion or something like that, I think that's a great thing to take away.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What advice would you give to any artist out there who would be interested in doing a collaboration?
um, I think the key to a good collaboration is knowing the people you're collaborating with first. Spend some time with them. Don't just sort of decide that you want because you like the voice. Let's just do a collab because um, I think that to get I mean, we were lucky, in a sense because we knew each other. We knew it, potentially it would work,
Mm.
and that. But the problem is, you can always find people with amazing voices, but it just doesn't work, And I think it's really important to um, get to know them, and then you get the trust, and then and then you get the best. And I think that's essential, to do that. I mean, we can all pick stars off around the world that we like to collab with, but the personalities may clash, and then the song is the song. It gets recorded and produced, but it could be quite sort of flat, emotionless, Whereas if you've got that trust and that sort of friendship there, I think you get a lot more out of it.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that so much. It's so important. I think that just goes back to relationships in general in the industry. No matter who you're working with, a musician or manager or producer or whatever, I feel like there has to be a strong relationship because it's all about a common goal and creating something great and furthering careers and all those kind of things. And like you said, like I have inspirations I love to write with and I love to record with, but if there's not a friendship there or not a relationship there, it can be awkward, there could be tension, and then you're just not going to get the best product if you're not feeling that magic together. So I completely agree with that. Becky, what would you give as advice?
Yeah, basically reiterating what you both have said, and um I haven't done many sort of collaborations. It's mainly just like co-writing with people, and just coming from like a co-write point of view, I think just being mindful of the other person and having space for their thoughts and their feelings as well. even if you might not necessarily potentially agree with what they're saying, I think it's important for you to let them have their space and hear out what their reasons for, certain decisions or a way something's, sung. And again, that ties in with, if you've built up a relationship or rapport with that person, obviously it's going to be a lot easier. But yeah, I think it's just appreciating and just being mindful of other people's points of view as well. And because at the end of the day, we all want the same result. We're all in this big game together. We all just want to support each other the best we can. And I think that's good. That's sort of the best way to kind of deal with it, I think.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that goes back to communication as well because, you can have the trust there, you can have the vulnerability there, but you have to communicate what you're thinking and your ideas, and that goes both ways. Like, you have to be open-minded, because I haven't done a collaboration with another artist on a song, but I've done a ton of co-writes, and I think, to your point, it's the same kind of thing because if you're writing a song with somebody and they have an idea that maybe you're not feeling, you still have to respect that and kind of find a compromise. So communication, I think, as well, is so important with no matter what you're doing with collaboration.
Absolutely. And when it comes to words and writing lyrics and things like that, you get the vulnerable side, the emotions coming out and things like that, and it's understanding each other's emotions to bring it together to make the song when you're co-writing and things like that. And I think that can be more vulnerable than just recording together as such, because you're almost, we all write songs about experiences and things like this, and I think sometimes it's opening yourself up and letting someone else see inside, which can be quite daunting sometimes. And you need that trust to do it nicely, and it shows. It shows when it's done.
No, that's fantastic. I absolutely love that. And you brought up the whole emotional thing, and I think that's so important because you could have the best lyrics in the world, the best melody in the world, and go on for just a second. If for some reason there's no emotional connection, then the whole thing's just gonna fall apart because like no one's feeling anything and it doesn't feel natural. And I think that's important for co-writing, but for what you guys were doing too, like you're singing a very beautiful, heartfelt song. And even though you didn't write this song, as artists covering it, you guys had to find an emotional connection to let that shine through on the recording. So I think no matter if you're writing or recording with somebody, the emotion is definitely key.
Yeah, absolutely.
For
Absolutely.
sure. And I think, we were very wary of this song because obviously it's quite a romantic song. And if you watch the video of them singing it together, it's very intense and they're looking in each other's eyes. It's like,
That's not gonna happen.
this is not going to happen. So, we both approached it from a very different point of view, but still being able to keep that emotion in there. But we've just we've just made it mean different things to each of us. So,
Absolutely.
I think it still will come across as that sort of love song that people think, but we've just done it in our own separate ways. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we could ever recreate that video.
No.
I'm gonna think we would just all the way through it. I just don't think it would ever happen.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been fabulous. I love chatting with both of you. How about each of you share one last thought about how incredible it was recording this? Like what your biggest takeaway from this whole thing was. So, Becky, you can go first.
Oh god, it was just, I think for me, I've had quite a tough year. I've had a lot of grief, a lot of loss, a lot of ups and downs. So for me, it was just so refreshing to get back in the studio with someone I trust, with someone who is a great friend to me now, and just do something fun. Yeah, I really needed that, and I'm just super excited for everyone to hear it and just for it to be released into the world. Um, yeah, I'm just super excited.
Fabulous. How about you, Stuart?
Well, I think the other daunting thing for me was as I worked on, like I say, the second edition before for Tim and Faith when I was in Nashville, and I think bringing it into the studio for me and Becky was like, are we ever going to fill those shoes, and things like that, especially on my side. But working working with Becky and hearing the song come to alive, all I can say is that we smashed it.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually happy to listen to our version rather than theirs. And that to me, that just says that it's right. It's done.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Fabulous. Oh, well, I'm so excited to hear it. It'll be out November 15th. To everybody listening, please go check that out. I'm very excited to hear it. And it was such an honor having you both on the show. Before you go, can you share with everybody where they can find you online and listen to your music?
Yeah, so my handle's really easy. Becky Lawrence UK on everything, pretty much. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's where I am.
And with me, it's pretty much Stuart Rolfe. But you can find me on Facebook on things like Stuart Rolfe and the Daylight Stealers, on Spotify and everywhere else. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been lots of fun.
Thank you for inviting us on. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, of course. Fantastic. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. Again, Becky and Stuart, thank you for joining me. Everybody, please go check out I Need You, coming so soon. And of course, until next time,
stay right on track.